Hey guys, what's up? Happy Friday, Saturday, wherever you're at. This is April with astrolada.com, and I'm doing your weekly horoscope plus coffee talk, celebrity astrology talk. There is some interesting stuff we're covering this week. Let me just wait for you guys to come through, make sure everything is running smoothly here. Hi, everybody in the chat. I see you guys. What's up, Elizabeth? Hey, everybody. Okay. So let's jump right in. Oh, thank you so much, Sabrina. Thank you. Okay. Um, so for those of you who are tuning in that have not tuned into my broadcast before, I do a weekly horoscope from one Friday to the next Friday. And I cover what's going on during the week, what's the feel like, what's the weather like. And at the end, I do a celebrity horoscope just to let you know what's going on with a celebrity, not just to gossip and talk about them, but to show an example of how astrology works because their lives are on display. And what better way to see like astrology live in action, right? And speaking of celebrity stuff, have you guys noticed? I don't know if it's just me. Astrology becoming a little more, I don't want to say trendy, but more celebrities are starting to talk about it and talk about their placements, like more than just their sun sign. They're talking about their moon. Like Ariana Grande posted something the other day. She posted a meme or a joke about her having a Cancer sun and a Libra moon. So a lot of people went crazy over that. A couple fellow astrologer buddies of mine were like, "Oh my gosh, she posted about her moon as well." So that means she knows her chart. I've just noticed it, like that celebs are, being a little bit more open about knowing their astrological placements. So I'm pretty happy about that as an astrologer because they help control the waves of the masses and they'll get people curious, you know what I'm saying? To look up their own placements. So yeah. Oh, Chris Brown too. Oh my gosh. Elizabeth, you know what? Good point. Yeah, Chris Brown posted his cafe astrology tables of his chart, but it was like a little bootleg. He kind of, I don't know how he cropped it. It was a little weird. But there's some controversy surrounding that because everybody knows Chris Brown's birthday to be like in a certain year. I think it's 1989 or something. I can't remember, but those of us who have a keen eye for the generational planets notice that the birth date that he posted a chart for was not for the same year that we know him to have a birth year. It had him as like a Scorpio moon instead of, I don't know, there was just different stuff going on. And he was a different, he had different generational planets that would make him older than he says he is. So we're like, oh my gosh, so yeah, we don't know if he's trolling or if he really is into astrology. But anyway, so now that you guys are coming in, let's get into what's going on this week. So I'm covering February 22nd through March 1st. Can you guys believe it's already March? Like, I can't believe it. We just got into the 20s as far as the days of the month. And now it's going to be already like March. So that's kind of trippy to me. But that's the period of time that we're covering here. So let's start with what's going on today, which is February 22nd, Venus conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. I forgot to cover this last week. I forgot about this aspect. And I'm like, how can I forget about this? This is like Plutonian energy. It's very intense. Venus is our relationships, our feelings of love and stuff, how we express it. It is also our money, what we do with our money, what we buy with it, our material things. And it is in Capricorn, which is an earth sign that is about our material world. And it's in a conjunction with Pluto, which is the planet of intensity and depth and, diving deep below the surface. And it can, on a negative side, Pluto can rule obsession and, just being very obsessive and a little too intense, I guess you can say. And so they're in a conjunction with one another. So the conjunction is exact on the 22nd, but it's still going to be hanging around through the weekend and maybe, a couple days in the beginning of the week. It can be It can be either or. You guys know my seventh house energy can see both the good and bad in every transit, every situation. So the good with Venus conjunct Pluto, if you like intensity within your relationships, then yeah, this is a good transit for you. It's a good transit for intimacy. Let's just say that. With matters regarding money, it can have people feeling more intense or obsessive about their money, about their finances, about their resources, feeling like concentrated on that stuff too. Maybe really super concentrated on the earning of their money or protective over their money too, because Pluto's energy, it can be very protective in a way, because it can be a little paranoid. It's aware that it rules the darker side of life, you know. So if Venus is in a conjunction with the dark side planet, you know, saying like it's really aware of what the worst can happen, what's the worst that can happen financially. So it can make you very aware and maybe, you know, be penny pinching a little bit. Venus is still, you know, kind of in a excuse me, in a conjunction with Saturn too. I talked about Venus conjunct Saturn last week. Now that's kind of fading off, and she's really, really like close to Pluto now. So yeah, like Venus conjunct Saturn could have been us like really having a reality check with our finances or reality checks within love. And now with the conjunction to Pluto, it's like wanting to change and transform something that we had the reality check about, and preparing for the future in a way that is secure and, you know, makes us feel protected with either love or money. So that's Venus conjunct Pluto. Now, the negative side is, yes, stalkerish weirdo activities that some people may tap into with this energy, which is, mhm, you know, people kind of being obsessed with someone, obsessively thinking about someone, um, and maybe even doing obsessive things like messaging them 50 times, you know, is, oh my gosh, especially people who already have a very strong Pluto placement or Scorpio or eighth house energy in their chart, Pluto aspects to their own Venus. This can bring out more of that energy within them to where they're just like, you know, really intense. You know what? I'm a Scorpio rising and I have some other like, you know, configurations that give me like a Pluto type of an energy. So I've been really trying to stay off of my phone, except to like, you know, do some work or maybe like have a movie playing in the background on my phone while I'm working on my computer. So I don't get all like obsessive that, you know, like about, oh, why haven't they answered me yet? You know, getting all paranoid about like someone not answering you back and everything. Cause yeah, this energy has the tendency to do that. So as long as you're aware, maybe you can check yourself on it and protect yourself from like weirdos, you know, that are like doing things like following you and, you know, watching you on social media and stuff. So that's Venus conjunct Pluto on the 22nd. It's the strongest, but in the days following, it may still be lingering and hanging on. Also, we have Mercury is now in its shadow period. So Mercury is actually going to go retrograde March 5th, which you would think, right? Oh, that's a little far away. No, that's only like next week. I'll, you know, be talking a little bit more about Mercury retrograde. So, yeah, it's already going to be happening, the retrograde. But before that, we have the shadow period, which is a period when communication can still be fuzzy, unclear, a little wonky. There's some confusion that can happen. There's some mishaps that can happen with things like mail and delivery of messages via email, anything that's Mercury ruled, any type of communication. Also driving too, and especially because it's in a conjunction with Neptune still, like still kind of hanging around Neptune for a minute. It's super confusing times, you know. You know what I've noticed is like people are getting lost in like memories and movies and anything that like brings their mind back to like a certain place. Excuse me. But yeah, Mercury in shadow period in Pisces. Pisces is a water sign. Water signs are very sentimental. So I have noticed, you know, myself and other people getting very sentimental during this period of Mercury in shadow. But yes, definitely don't wait until March 5th. Like, I know a lot of people, are talking about Mercury going retrograde March 5th, and then they just kind of leave it at that. And everybody thinks it's very cut and dry, like, oh, March 5th is when we have to start being careful with mercurial ruled matters. No, no, no. The shadow period is in full effect. Trust me, you have to start then with the proper precautions. And as soon as Mercury went into shadow, guess what? My check engine light went on my car. Mercury does rule driving, so Mercury retrograde or shadow period can do things to your vehicles. Yeah, my car was acting a little funny, and the check engine light came on, and I had it fixed just barely a few months ago, and there was no check engine light forever. And then all of a sudden, bing, Mercury in shadow, look what happens. So make sure you guys are making sure that your vehicles are, that they're good, that you're not going to have any weird things pop up during the actual retrograde period. Make sure that you are in great communication with people. I've had some communication mishaps with people. Oh my gosh, especially with the conjunction to Neptune as well. It's like that's when messages can disappear, and you can have a voicemail that you left. Somebody's like, oh, I didn't get it. And then it pops up days later, and just the weird stuff like that, can already be happening. So yeah, you guys just make sure that you're being careful of when you send messages, when you send emails and everything, make sure you're being cautious with making sure it goes to the right person. Because especially in confusing, foggy Pisces, and while Mercury is still kind of close to Neptune, you can accidentally send messages to the wrong people. Okay. I've had a friend who's Mercury ruled do that before. I think I might have shared this story with you guys before, but I do a live stream every week. I'm sure not everybody's going to go back and remember. I don't even remember when I shared it, but let me just share it again. I have a friend who is double Mercury ruled. And during a retrograde period, she sent me a text message. Well, she thought she sent me a text message talking about this guy, and it was something very personal. And it turns out she accidentally sent it to the guy she was talking about and not to me. So I think that kind of ended their little thing that they had going on. Yeah, it was, I know it was a Mercury retrograde because, hey, if you're Mercury ruled, this is your ruling planet. This is your brain spinning backwards pretty much. So yeah, you guys just be cautious with that. So yeah, Mercury's in shadow period. It's in full effect. Don't wait until March 5th to start being cautious with stuff, okay? All right. Also, what we've got is based on, I try to use a maximum of an 8-degree of separation, an 8-degree orb, as we call it in astrology. 8 degrees of separation between planets to really count as a conjunction. Although you got to feel it out sometimes. Sometimes even over that 8-degree mark, you could feel the conjunction in the air, or within the chart or whatever. But just as a rule that I'm a little loose with, I try to stay within 8 degrees. So I'm going to say around the 27th of February is when the sun begins to inch towards a conjunction with Neptune. Not until sometime within the first week of March is it going to be in an exact conjunction, but it's easing up there. So we have Mercury, excuse me, Mercury is in Pisces. It's in a shadow period. And we have the sun moving towards Neptune in Pisces. So anything you can think of that can succumb to confusion and being lost and stuff like that, that stuff can happen a little more. It's more dreamy energy, spiritual energy, and creative energy. Neptune and Pisces are very creative, very artistic. Movies, music, photography, anything that takes your mind away and has you seeing things that are very visually stimulating and vivid and creative is what you'll be more in tune with at this time. Also, the veil between the spirit realm is very thin during Pisces season in general. But while we have Neptune in Pisces still for several more years, whenever anything is in Pisces and it creeps up on Neptune, it's even more like, there's a lot of spirituality in the air. And, Pisces rules the spirit realm, and so does Neptune and the 12th house. They're all related to rule the spirit realm, people who are no longer here, but you can still connect with them, with their spirits. It rules that. So Neptune and Pisces thin the veil, dissolve it, the veil, the wall between our world and their world. So if you are someone who wants to get in contact with loved ones, this season in general is like good for that. Mercury retrograde, even in Pisces, even though Mercury retrograde is a time where we always say, oh my God, you got to freak out and be careful about everything. Retro is going back, getting back into contact with people. So that can even be people, like meaning spirits, Yeah, I was going to say something. Mercury is still, as I'm recording this live stream, it is in its shadow period, and it's still, counting as in a conjunction with Neptune. And I realized something today, a couple of things that have to do with people who are in spirit. This is a retrograde that's happening in my 5th house of hobbies and creative stuff. And I've just in the last couple of days really been feeling like I want to, get back into like I go through this period of time all the time. Whenever there's 5th house transits, if you have any hobbies that maybe you left behind or any creative endeavors or activities that like you used to do all the time, maybe you don't anymore, and you want to pick them up again, you'll pick them up again when you have 5th house transits a lot of times. And then maybe it only lasts for that transit, and then you go back to just your regular routines. So I go through this all the time. I tell you guys all the time. So I've been thinking about dancing, right? Because I used to be a hip hop dancer, a B-girl. And it's ironic that I just finally realized, oh, holy smokes. I'm trying to watch my language here. One of my friends that I used to dance with, he used to train me. And he passed away, unfortunately, over 10 years ago. But the apartments that I just moved to, he used to live in these apartments. And I just happened to move into these apartments. And the gym here, we used to practice dancing. And I still have some video clips stored somewhere of us dancing. And it just reminded me like, wow, this is Mercury retrograde in the 5th of hobbies, but it's in Pisces. So like, I feel like his spirit is talking to me like, yo, that gym, remember we used to practice there? You better go in there, get back to it. Because he was that type of guy with the Aries moon. Like, you better get in there. You better do this. You better. So I've been like kind of feeling that. So, and there's some other stuff too. I'm not going to get into too many of my spirit stories, but you guys get the point, right? So this is really Pisces season. If you maybe are into contacting mediums or, psychics, tarot readers, anybody that can connect you with people who have passed on, who are in the spirit realm, maybe they can come through a little easier. I've noticed during Neptune transits that that's indeed true, from personal experiences and experiences that people have let me in on, and I look at their transits and stuff. Yeah, Neptune and Pisces season are definitely the times when that is super potent. So, all right, that is Mercury in shadow in Pisces, the sun creeping up on Neptune. I will touch on the sun conjunct Neptune a little more once the time comes to where that transit is like the strongest, okay? But just know that it's like getting there. It's still kind of, it's lightly, we're lightly touching upon it in the week that I'm covering through March 1st. So speaking of March 1st, a couple things happening. You guys, there's just a lot of Venus this week. As a Venus ruled person, I'm totally feeling all the Venus changes too. So let me know how you guys are feeling. So Venus, we already talked about Venus conjunct Pluto, right? And then we're going to have Venus at the very last degree of Capricorn. And, Uranus is at the very last degree of Aries right now. And in the following week that I'm going to cover, I am going to talk about Uranus moving into Taurus. And also, I do have a webinar that I did with Lada covering it. I don't even remember how many hours long it is, you guys. It's like so long. um, but anyway, it's going into Taurus. I do have a webinar. I went over it in lots of detail. So if you want to know how it's going to affect you, you can download the webinar or purchase the webinar. It's in the description box. But it's still in Pisces right now. Or I'm sorry, Uranus is still in Aries right now, the very last degree. So it's a cardinal sign, and Capricorn's a cardinal sign. So my point is Venus and Uranus are squaring each other in these cardinal signs. So what does that mean? Well, that's happening exact on the 1st, but it's building up. I'm going to say like the majority of the week of that I'm covering here. So, yeah, Venus and Uranus. I always crack jokes and say that anything involving Uranus and Venus, especially, is someone craving a little something strange. I always say that, meaning Uranus is the planet of strange, like things that are completely outside the norm, outside the box, outside of what you usually do or what you usually like. Venus ruling dating and flirting and all that stuff. Uranus is sudden, sporadic. You could be doing, suddenly in a flirty mood. You could be having someone suddenly flirt with you out of the blue. You can have a sudden magnetic attraction that's like all these sparks flying, because Uranus literally rules electricity and sparks. And imagine him sending like electric impulses and lightning bolts over to Venus. So there's sudden things that can happen with things that Venus rules, which is relationships. So there can be sudden breakups, sudden meetings, sudden attractions, suddenly make a decision within an existing relationship to do something a little different. My advice, if you're trying to still have like a solid relationship work and there's a Venus and Uranus transit, is get out and do something different with your partner, that's like experimental to the two of you. So that neither one of you is bored. And because trust me, I've seen it, I've experienced it in the past, and I've heard, of people going through a Venus and Uranus transit, even the general one as a collective. This is a collective transit, but especially the personal ones like Uranus to your Venus or Venus to your Uranus. You could be tempted, you could be tested, okay? Everybody could be tested. Their relationships could be tested big time with Venus and Uranus. Last year in 2018, like at the very end, when Venus was in Scorpio and Uranus was still in Taurus, but it was retrograde, there was a Venus and Uranus opposition. Holy moly, did that really bring some tests to some relationships. Let me tell you, I heard so many stories, and woo-wee, yes. So this square may not bring as much as like an opposition or a conjunction, but it can still bring some challenges though to relationships, to where, say you're married and you go out with your friends and all of a sudden like you find yourself attracted to somebody when you're out somewhere. It's like, whoa, well, I'm trying to be, good here, but I don't know why this person and I, we just like, there's all this chemistry flowing, you know what I mean? So something like that can happen. Venus rules beauty and vanity in the material world, material things that you buy and stuff. So especially like beauty stuff, and especially vanity, meaning your appearance. So a Venus and Uranus square, maybe be cautious of what you buy or what you do to your appearance. I would maybe wait it out till the square kind of fades off, because Venus is like, and then Venus is going to go into Aquarius too, and it's still going to be squaring Uranus when it does. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. So Uranus and Aquarius rule things like, okay, like for example, tattoos and piercings. I always see Uranian people, Neptunian people are the number ones that'll get like, that are mainly open to having like a lot of different tattoos and piercings, right? So maybe you might decide with this square, you know what, I'm going to be rebellious and I'm going to go get myself a tattoo. but maybe you might like it in that moment, but then what about like a week or two later, you might be like, oh, you know what? I'm not really feeling this tattoo anymore. You know, or like you met somebody and all these sparks are flying, and then like a week or two later when Uranus's influence wears off, it's like, you know what? I don't even know if I'm really feeling them. Like you go on a date with them again and it's boring, you know, because there's no more Uranus to like shoot lightning bolts at you guys. So anyway, that's just some like examples of what can go on with Venus and Uranus. There could be sudden changes and shifts with your money too. Venus rules money. It's like we're going from it being in Cappy that's all cautious, and then Pluto and Saturn all serious, like making you really watch your money. And then here comes Uranus, and it's like being something can suddenly, I don't know, fly out of your bank account, like you know, a sudden weird charge. Or for some people, like even though it's a square, maybe they can have a sudden they come up on some money suddenly somehow. You know, it can be a positive thing, but normally a square is like some sort of a challenge, so it could be a challenge financially. But yeah, Uranus and Venus transits can be fun though. They could be fun, they could be exciting, but just know that it's sparks that spark up, and as quickly as they spark up, the sparks as quickly as the sparks spark up is as quickly as they can fizzle out. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So Venus moves into Aquarius on the 1st as well. So that'll kind of relieve some of the tension of the square a little bit once it shifts signs, because it's no longer going to be in the two signs that square each other on the zodiac wheel. But by degree, being a nerd, it'll still be in a square. But it'll be just kind of like the edge will be taken off once it goes into Aquarius. So Venus in Aquarius, Venus is going to be in Aquarius until March 26th. So from March 1st to March 26th. So I'll go through every sign and let you guys know where Venus is spreading her beautiful, graceful energy. But when she's in Aquarius, first of all, you guys know I love to talk about fashion and stuff. And yes, I'm still gathering notes to do a video on that, astrology and like the colors and the fashions and all that. So Venus in Aquarius. So let me tell you guys what's going to come out more. Well, we just left the Sun in Aquarius season. So we already saw like the shiny alien spacesuit colors of outfits. We saw, you know, all the neon. Neon is Aquarius. So we probably don't really see as much neon. Like that is, I'm talking about if you actually pay attention to what people are wearing in front of you, or even like scrolling through your social media, paying attention to what people are wearing, you'll notice that let's see. Oh, I hear you, Rising Phoenix. Yeah. So we don't see as much neon popping out right now, right? But once Venus goes into Aquarius, watch more neon, more alien stuff, more shiny spacesuit looking outfits, uh funky weird outfits. Venus in Aquarius makes me think of that site, the clothing and accessory site Dolls Kill. Dollskill.com has such Uranian stuff. And you know what? They came out with an astrology-based collection. So far they've came out with Aquarius and Pisces. So you guys, if you get a chance, go check that out, because I would say they must have like legit astrologers, or at least one legit astrologer working behind the scenes, because so far the collections they've come out with, it's not just like some random stuff and they slap a zodiac sign name. Like a lot of, you know, makeup and clothing companies will do that. And it really gets on my nerves as an astrologer. Like, why are you guys naming this after this sign? And this doesn't even have colors associated with the sign, or like this sign it doesn't have anything to do with the energy of the sign, but they actually nailed it so far. So anyway, we will see more of that come out with Venus and Aquarius, like unique, different things that have neon colors, lightning bolts, weird things that don't seem to match, but they make sense to the person. Lots of stuff like that. And yeah, the piercings, the tattoos, people will be more, you know, because Aquarius is very rebellious. And that's why a lot of Uranian people, Aquarian people, 11th house people, they get stuff like that. They'll get like the septum piercing, or, you know, the different types of piercings that aren't the average. And they'll get a lot of tattoos, because I find that Pisces and Aquarius or Neptunian, people who are very Neptunian, people who are very Uranian are the number one people that do that. I can spot them out in a crowd, right? Colored hair, different piercings, lots of tattoos. It's because they're the last two signs of the zodiac. So they are the least attached to the physical body. So they will decorate their bodies because they have the understanding that we're more than just a physical body. So you don't have to like hang on to, your physical so much. You can be free with it. You can decorate it. You can do whatever. And who cares if your hair is fried because you had to dye it blonde in order to get it like a blue color? It's like, who cares? Who cares? It'll grow back. Like they're the least attached to the body. You know what I mean? So Venus in Aquarius, Venus ruling what we find beautiful and what we do with our appearance. It is a time where people will be more than likely to experiment a little bit more with stuff like that, tattoos, piercings, and yada, yada, yada. Okay. Victoria says they decorate their spirit vehicles. I love that. I love that phrase. It's absolutely true. Yes. Okay. And Victoria says she was looking at their website. Are you talking about dollskill.com? Yeah. I love that website. I haven't got a chance to order anything from it yet, but I always admire everything that's on the site because I have Uranus in the first house, so I'm very Uranian. So I'm very like, I wish I want to dress like that. Okay, guys. So that's Venus in Aquarius. So from March 1st until March 26th, she only spends like a couple weeks in that sign. Her not being retrograde really helps her to just be in her normal orbit, which is not sticking around too long and in one sign and then like moving on to the next, Okay. So, but as a collective, Venus and Aquarius is energy. Aquarius is about technology and internet and social media and being your authentic self, So a lot of people may be expressing more of their individuality. Venus kind of sweetens things up and lightens things up and brings harmony and peace. So maybe when there's when there's planets in Aquarius, we'll see more like protests and stuff like that going on. But when Venus is in Aquarius, Venus is about peace. So maybe there might be some peaceful protests about things or women's issues that women worry about. So Venus rules women. And then, Aquarius is like causes and the collective and bringing issues to the attention of the masses. So we may see more of that while she is in Aquarius. Excuse me, maybe some women's marches or women's rights stuff. You know what I mean? That coming up a little bit more. And yeah, it's a good time to gather with friends, go to events where there's a lot of like acquaintances, network with people, Venus and Aquarius is like that. It's all about that stuff. Okay. So, excuse me. Okay. Yeah, so that's Venus in Aquarius. So I will go through all the signs and let you guys know where she's going to be affecting you based on your rising sign is the most accurate. And then also you can check your sun sign. You can check your moon sign as well. They're both still accurate. The moon sign is more like your feelings, your emotional feelings about, wherever it's transiting from an emotional perspective. Okay. Oh, and my neon cup, she has made an appearance again about Uranus and Aquarius and all that stuff right now. So yeah, speaking of, excuse me, neon colors and Aquarius. Okay. Let me answer this question really quick because it is a very important astrological question regarding horoscopes. So thanks, Sabrina, for this question. Sabrina asked, I'm a 29-degree Libra rising, but all your horoscopes for Scorpio are so accurate for they're really accurate. What do you think? So that's a good question. I find that when your ascendant is a later degree, you can listen to both because your ascendant still carries the energy of that sign. Okay. So you're still a Libra rising no matter what. So Libra rising horoscopes, Libra horoscopes will still affect you. However, because if you use your exact birth time, that means you're using a Placidus chart. more than likely. Your first house is still going to have a lot of Scorpio in it, okay? It's going to have a lot of the next sign. And then I don't know how the rest of the houses line up in your chart because everybody's different. But you know, so you'll be experiencing the transits of planets according to Scorpio as well. For example, your 29-degree Libra rising. So when we talk about Venus being in the sign of Libra, for example, it's still going to affect you. You're going to feel the effects of the Libra rising, but because still going to Scorpio to be technically moving through your first house, you can listen to your horoscope for Scorpio. And when we're talking about Venus is in your first house, Scorpio, that's still going to apply to you because it's taking up a big chunk of your first house. So I hope that makes sense. I go by both. I use whole sign. I use Placidus. They both are accurate to me in my practices. And I've never had anybody come back and say, you're wrong. It doesn't match. It doesn't sound like me when I use both. So if you're asking my advice, Sabrina, that's what it is. Okay. Excuse me. All right, guys. So let's talk about Venus and Aquarius for all the signs. Where is she transiting and what is she doing for you? So Venus for Aries. So if you're an Aries rising, an Aries sun, or Aries moon, Venus in Aquarius is in your 11th house. So this really is a time for you to gather with friends and acquaintances and people that you network with. A lot of you Aries will be more on, maybe more active on social media, active within groups. Maybe you can find, because Venus is like love and admiration and adoration of someone, from someone and stuff like that. Maybe you'll find that within a group, or when you go out and about, you know, go out on the town, socialize, and maybe you'll actually meet somebody, or, you know, get that type of attention from someone. Excuse me, Venus in the 11th house, you know, with Venus, once again, ruling your appearance and stuff, you'll want to express yourself in a very unique way for Aries people. Maybe rebellious. Aquarius is very, very rebellious as well. So maybe you guys are going to be like, you know what? I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to wear stripes and polka dot together. And this is me. This is who I am. It represents me. So I'm just going to wear it no matter what anybody says. So maybe you might want to do that, Aries people. Yeah, it's a good time to do some creative. Venus is very creative energy. 11th house is the internet. It's also technology. So doing some creative stuff that you put out on the internet, or that you utilize a lot of technology for. Maybe you'll be downloading some art apps on your phone or your tablet or something, Aries people, and start to do some creative stuff, create some beautiful things using technology. What else about Venus in the 11th? Even if you are in a relationship, you'll still be craving to get out and be social, like maybe even with your partner, like you guys do some group activity things rather than just go on a one-on-one date. It could be group stuff too. And yeah, so that's what it is for Aries people. It's just a very social Venus transit. If you are single, if you're not really looking for love or anything like that, it's just enjoying time with friends, or going out to like different unique events, you know, seeing some different stuff for once. So next up is Taurus. So if you're a Taurus rising, sun, or moon, Venus in Aquarius is going to be in your 10th house. So that means that you guys have a few weeks to where you have an advantage when it comes to your career and your public image, Tauruses. People can see you in more of a positive light. They can see you as someone who is very valuable within your career. Your title may be respected. Maybe you can get along more peacefully with higher ups with Venus here. Venus does bring peace, balance, and harmony. This is a time where maybe you as well, Taurus, may put out some sort of creative thing, or something very Venusian out there into the world, or like a project, a major project that you do for your career or something like that. Venus in the 10th can have you being a little bit more bougie. So kind of like craving some like finer, more refined tastes and things because you feel like you deserve it, like you worked very hard. Because 10,000 is working hard, and then Venus is about what you feel you deserve materially, you know, being rewarded for things. So you may reward yourself materially for getting this cheap thing, getting yourself like a expensive name brand type instead of going to a, you know what, myself to that because I feel like I deserve it because I work so hard, you know. So that's what. So next up is Gemini. If you are a, hold on, what in the world? Hold on. Okay. Think I went off for a little. Okay. So yeah, are you serious? It is, and it's in one of my signs too. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to get it back on. Check my. This is the only one we have now. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me just continue, and we'll work to see if everything is moving smoothly. I know Mercury in shadow. Yes. Oh, geez. Okay. All right. So Gemini. So I'm on Gemini. So Gemini rising, sun or moon, Venus in Aquarius is in, this is the house of adventure and getting out there into the world. The world is your playground right now, Gemini, with this Venus transit. So that means that you guys may see life that way. You know, Venus can be about what you enjoy. So your enjoyment probably lies in exploration. That can mean exploration of the world through travel, exploration of even just your local area, but getting out to different places, seeing different sights and people. Um, Venus in the ninth house can be just in love too. You may want to be more adventurous. Maybe you can start, you know, talking to somebody that lives in another country and having a little long distance boo thing. You know what I mean? Venus in the ninth, it can have you just being a little bit more carefree about love and about money. You know, Venus in the ninth kind of feels like money will just come back to you no matter what. It'll just replenish. So why not just throw it in the air for the moment? So you may be spending some time at the casinos and stuff like that, Gemini, with this transit. But yeah, Venus in the ninth is mostly about that. You know, it's being adventurous. It could be with food. You know, Venus rules foods that you like to eat, and ninth house is foreign, so you could be enjoying some foreign foods, some different cultural events. The weather is nice enough for there to be this, for March to be like a season of cultural events, for, you know, those Italian festival, like different festivals. I'm thinking of ones that are actually like within where I live. I'm naming some actual festivals that are going on in March that yeah, that I know of. So just outdoor festivals of different cultures and different foods from other cultures and enjoying them. So yeah, Geminis can be really, that can be really like your thing during this time. And yeah, you may not want to be tied down. I mean, a lot of Geminis don't like to be anyway, but you'll probably be feeling extra like I don't want to be like tied down right now. I want to have my freedom to just get out and roam around, even if I'm in a relationship or you know, that doesn't mean like creeping around, Gemini. I see you. It means you still want to get out and do your own thing, like have a good time, have fun with friends or by yourself, you know, go on your own little adventures without having somebody next to you all the time. That's what I mean by that. Okay. All right. Okay. So, Cancer. So, if you're a Cancer rising, sun, or moon, Venus in Aquarius is in your eighth house. So this is a very emotionally intense area of your chart, Cancer. You guys are already very emotionally intense on your own. But this is the house of, wanting a very close bond with somebody on a soul level, not just the surface. So that's what you could be craving, is that kind of attention, Cancer. Just somebody to actually look into your eyes when they talk to you and have a deep conversation about things. Ask them how they really feel and what they really think about certain things. And also, Venus ruling money, and the eighth house is joint finances. It's also taxes. Maybe some of you Cancers can have better luck than other people with getting your tax money back, your tax return money, and maybe enjoy spending it. The eighth house is debts and loans. So maybe you could be approved for some sort of loan or line of credit when Venus is transiting your eighth house, or maybe have existing ones be, what's the word I'm looking for? Not upgraded, but they could be like you can all of a sudden have the limits raised, or be approved, more easily approved for something, for like a new line of credit, with Venus in the eighth house. But yeah, you'll just be craving more depth, more intensity when it comes to love. You could be a little bit more obsessive too, so just be aware of that. But yeah, so that's what it is for Cancers. For Leos, so Leo rising, Leo sun, Leo moon. Venus in Aquarius is in your seventh house, which is your opposite sign. So for you guys, this is love, what Venus naturally rules. So a lot of Leos will be wanting to be booed up, craving to have somebody next to them, to converse, to whatever. You could be a lot more social, a lot more popular amongst your social circles, like in a good way, people just really adoring you and wanting to have your attention. Um, One-on-one gatherings with friends to get some food or something. Venus rules like food and things that we enjoy. So and the seventh house is one-to-one conversations, and it's also negotiations and collaborations. So if you have any type of line of work or hobbies or anything that you do that does that, this could be a good time to make some agreements. Well, actually, agreements and paperwork, Mercury will still be retrograde, so be very cautious with that. But just getting along with other people, though, like being more level with others, more civil with them, is, what Venus in the seventh house can bring. But yeah, whether you're in a relationship or not, you will be wanting more attention and love and wanting to give it to Leo. So it could definitely mean that you can be meeting somebody if you're single. You could be hanging out with maybe a few different people if you're single. And if you're in a relationship, then maybe just your partner and you are getting along a lot better. All right, so next up is Virgo. So if you're a Virgo rising, sun, or moon, Venus in Aquarius is going to be in your sixth house, which is your work environment. So you'll be getting along better with people within your workplace. Some of you may meet love within your workplace. This is getting along with coworkers, with clients, with customers, with higher ups, managers. It doesn't matter. Just people will be seeing you in this like Venusian light, with Venus being there. If you're interviewing for jobs, for example, and Venus is in your sixth house, you have a better chance of making a good impression. And the sixth house is also health. So Venus in the sixth can help you out with health, with especially any health regimen that is going to help you out with your appearance, because Venus does rule the appearance and vanity. Sixth house is routines. So maybe you can get into better routines that will help your appearance. Like if you need to change your skincare routine, or, be better about doing like facials or something, you know what I mean? Like it'll have you more paying attention to that stuff, and wanting to actually spend more money on healthcare, spend money on vitamins, spend money on like face masks, beauty stuff, because Venus is money and the material. So the only thing I would warn you about with Venus in the sixth is the sixth house is our habits, and Venus is things that are sweet and very rich, you know, as far as what we consume. So you guys may get into habits of eating sweets and stuff. Oh my God, that reminds me, I have this really bomb non-dairy ice cream in the freezer that, yeah, I'm really like thinking about now. Sorry, Virgos. I know you guys are trying to be healthy and all that, but I just remember that like, ooh, that ice cream. Okay. Anyway, Venus rules stuff like ice cream, right? So you can get into the habit of adding that into your routine and maybe consuming a little more sugar than you should. So just be aware of that. Okay, so next up is Libra. So if you're a Libra rising, sun or moon, Venus and Aquarius is in your fifth house. So this is the romance and all the great things that Venus rules too. So dating, a lot of Libras, your dating life will be popping. Hopefully it will be. And you'll be receiving some more attention from people in the realm of dating. Fifth house is fun. It just, I don't know, Venus is enjoyment. So you'll be wanting to enjoy a lot of fun things, fun times. Um, it's hobbies too, the ones that like you have some creative skill or talent and not being afraid to show it off is the fifth house. So you'll be a little bit more showy, you know, of yourself. Fifth house is also confidence and self-esteem. So you guys have a boost of that confidence and self-esteem, especially with how you look, Libra, and Libras are usually very into their looks. So yeah, that's what it is. Also, it's children. Children's the fifth house. So if you have children already, maybe you Libras can be getting along better with your kids, looking at them in a more positive light, doing some fun activities with your kids, doing things that are very Venus related with your kids, like going out to eat, making some arts and crafts, some projects or something. But your kids are going to be like, you know, more closer to your heart. You're going to enjoy their company a little bit more. Okay, so next up is Scorpio. So if you're Scorpio rising, sun, or moon, then that means Venus in Aquarius is going to be in your 10th house, which is your career. And yeah, that's your career. Wait, I'm sorry. No, it's going to be your fourth house. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the opposite. I was looking at Taurus is right across from it. It's going to be in your fourth house, which is your family life for Scorpios. That's your personal life, your family life, your emotional inner world. It's your home, you know. So Venus is beautifying. I notice when there's Venus in the fourth transit that a lot of us will be wanting to decorate our living spaces a little more, make them more comfortable, comfy. So I'm looking forward to that as a Scorpio rising. Yeah, wanting to decorate a little bit more. A lot of you guys know that I just moved from a home to a little tiny apartment. It's, you know, so maybe during that time I'll make it more, even more homey and roomy and try to get used to it a little bit more. Want to decorate. I'm looking right now like, of like ideas of what to decorate when Venus goes through the fourth house. But some of you guys may be wanting to spend a little bit more time with family, which is the fourth house, getting along better with family, having more support from your family too, wanting to enjoy good times with them, gatherings, especially ones involving food, which is Venus. And some people may be celebrating like their roots, their ancestry, their country of origin, their culture, and Venus is in the fourth house as well. Sorry if I'm fidgety. It's like super cold. As you guys know, like all over the US, there's been super cold weather. Even I live on the West Coast and it's usually very warm, like a much warmer part of the country, and it's like very cold. So I'm like, woo, like I'm just trying to like get comfy and as warm as I can on this little chair. So I'm sorry, fellow Scorpios. And also Uranus is like creeping up on my Mars. So that's like sporadic antsy energy. So yeah, sorry about that. Okay, but yeah, Venus in the fourth house for Scorpios. This is you enjoying more of your own alone time or time at home. Um, not really being as social, but just kind of like, you know, people who are in your closest circle, maybe having them come over because you trust them and you know them on a heart level. Um, but just really kind of enjoying your alone time at home. But yeah, that's what it is for Scorpio people. Could be some family stuff, could be moving. Some of you guys could be moving, or like I said, like just decorating or redecorating your living space. Okay, so for Sagittarius, rising sun or moon, Venus in Aquarius is in your, it's in your third house. So the third house is very social. So this is a social sign. It's an earth sign, and it's in an earth social house for you guys. So Saggies, you guys will be like maybe getting out and about around your city and maybe exploring it a little bit more. This is like the immediate vicinity around where you live. It's not like far away trips. It's short trips, you know. So some of you guys can be enjoying more like short trips, or this is variety, and Venus is love and dating and romance. So, you know, you could be enjoying a little bit more variety, like maybe juggling a few different people with Venus transiting your third house. I already know a couple Sagittarians I can think of that they live the life, you know what I'm saying? They live that life. So I can imagine they're gonna be doing all that switcheroo variety stuff, you know, when Venus is in Aquarius. Oh my gosh. But also the third house is like communication. So, and it's the way that you speak. I noticed during Venus in the third transits, it really can affect the way that you talk. Maybe you are speaking a little bit more sweeter to others, more softer, more nice. Third house is skills of the hands. So maybe you'll have like suddenly like more creative skills. You want to create things with your hands that are beautiful. What else with Venus in the third? Yeah, you'll just be craving variety, even with like food and stuff or clothes. Maybe you'll just want to switch things up, switch them out. You know, you just want different, fresh, new, exciting when Venus is in your third house. So next up is Capricorn. So if you're Cappy rising, sun or moon, Venus in Aquarius is in your second house, which is your earned income. It's your money. So this is the money that you earn from your own efforts, from your paycheck, for example. This could be side jobs, second jobs, extra jobs, you know, creative hobbies that you have that you can turn into ways to make money. Any way in which you can make money is the second house. So Venus there, yeah, you could be really focused on that. You can actually get a raise or maybe a higher paying job you get hired at or something. So Cappies, also the second house is your material world, right? And so is Venus. So you could be actually spending more money, buying more material things, doing a little retail therapy, doing some shopping more than usual during this transit, wanting to buy all the things, you know, and accumulate more stuff. And also the second house is foods that you ingest as well. So Venus there can make you guys, Cappies, you as well as Virgo, your fellow earth sign, are two of the number one signs that may need to watch your intake of like sweets and sugars and foods that are fatty. You know, they're not that great for you, but they taste really good. You guys may need to watch that with Venus in the second house. But yeah, buying things, enjoying going shopping, or doing the opposite, working really hard and enjoying stacking your money, could be Venus in the second house for you guys. All right, so if you're an Aquarius, rising, sun, or moon, first of all, Aquarius suns, yeah, Aquarius suns and risings, yeah, and moon too. Okay, all three of y'all, all three of y'all. Venus being in your sign is a beautiful time. Literally, you feel more beautiful. Everybody sees Venus's energy radiating off of you. It's like you got sparkles on you. You'll want to pay more attention to your appearance. You'll want to beautify yourself. Make sure you look beautiful or handsome or whatever every single day when Venus is in your sign. If you don't feel beautiful and attractive, then you'll be finding ways to make yourself feel that way. So this is a transit to where people spend more money on things like they're getting their hair done, haircuts, clothing, you know, accessories, beauty products, whatever. You invest more in your appearance when Venus is in your first house, because you do want to feel like you are embodying the energy of Venus, and you know that you just want to be beautiful. So it's beautifying you, yourself, your world. Some people, when Venus is in their first house, they do have a lot of like cravings and stuff, and some people do the opposite. They want to look good, so they start going to the gym a little bit more, you know, and making sure that their body does look very Venusian and attractive. So yeah, that is Aquarius for Venus and Aquarius. Now, finally, Pisces. So if you're a Pisces rising, sun, or moon, Venus and Aquarius is in your 12th house. So 12th house energy is your element, Pisces. You guys are the 12th sign on the wheel. So anything that happens in your 12th house is going to make you extra Piscean in nature. So here it goes, Pisces. Okay, Venus in the 12th. Let's start with the good stuff. You'll be in your element creatively. If you're already a creative Pisces, your best can come out during this time because you're super focused on channeling creativity. If you are a Pisces that works in like astrology or tarot or mediumship or psychic work, Venus in the 12th can maybe help you a little bit with that too. 12th house does rule, it is associated with stuff like that to some degree, especially anything that has you working with your intuitive abilities. Your dreams may be more vivid and nicer and more pleasant, hopefully with Venus in your 12th, Pisces. Dreaming about love. And that's another thing. One of the negative sides of Venus transiting the 12th is being caught up in situations of unrequited love, like longing for someone, you know, to save you, someone far away that's unattainable. Like you just think about them, you want to daydream about them and wish they were yours and everything. So sometimes that happens with Venus in the 12th. You feel like a damsel in distress, like because the 12th house can be victim and savior, you know, things that happen. So you can kind of feel like a victim within love and you want someone to save you and rescue you, Pisces. Oh my gosh. I know. I hate when we get like that, right? Venus in the 12th can be some behind the scenes or undercover activities in love, you know. Some people, hopefully not, but some people will do some shady activities. Some people may just want to enjoy their own alone time and solitude and do creative things, Venusian things. Or maybe you are like hanging out with somebody and it's not a scandalous situation though, but you really just want to be private and on the low. Venus in the 12th is that transit to where you'll feel like, I like hanging out with them, but I don't want to make a big old announcement to everybody that, you know, we're hanging out, but I enjoy their company. So we're just going to enjoy our time in isolation and solitude and private, you know, hanging out with each other, whatever. Low key behind the scenes activities is the 12th house. So with whatever Venus rules, that's what will be going on, Pisces people. Okay, guys, so that is it for the weekly forecast for all the signs. Don't forget to look in the description box to where you can find me on astrolada.com and any of the services I provide and webinars. I've done a few webinars. I've been so blessed to do webinars with Lada herself a few times on this platform. So if you're interested in those, check it out, especially Uranus and Taurus. Uranus is coming up in the sign of Taurus again, and it's going to stay there for 7 years. Okay. And this is barely coming up on March 6th, 5th or 6th. Yeah. Not too far away. So go check that out. And now if you guys want to stick around for the coffee talk, we're going to get into that real quick. So, but if you're saying peace out, I still love you and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Okay. So let's get into the celebrity stuff, you guys. So, woo-wee, I need to take a sip of my water real quick. Wow. 111 are watching. Actually, I need a little caffeine. I know I call this coffee talk, but a lot of you guys know that I'm not a big coffee drinker. But if I do need caffeine, this is not sponsored, by the way. I drink these because they have just the right amount of caffeine for someone who's very small and sensitive like me. So yeah, let me get some of this and then I'll be awake so we can talk about the situation with Jussie Smollett. He has a very unique name. So pardon me if I pronounce it kind of weird, but yes, we're going to get into his situation and look at his chart real quick. Oh my gosh. So Sabrina is spilling all kinds of tea tonight. Sabrina said, My best friend has a Pisces rising, and she just went on a date with a married man. I mean, behind the scenes activities with people who are married, taken. Yeah, 12th house stuff can a lot of times lead to that, to be honest. Kind of creeping around, being on the low with somebody, attract people who are unattainable, they're forbidden. But you don't see the boundaries, so that makes sense, unfortunately. So you guys see how astrology works. Okay, so now let's get into the fluffy talk. So there is an actor who is on the show Empire, and his name is Jussie, and he claims that he was attacked on January 29th by some of the president's supporters, and he just, described them and everything. So they supposedly attacked him, had a rope around his neck and splashed him with bleach and beat him up a little bit. Okay, that's what he claims, right? So it turns out that he just got arrested, I think actually today, which is the 22nd that I am, recording this. That for falsifying a police report or filing a false police report or something like that. So yeah, he is in trouble now because it turns out that they're saying that he fabricated the whole thing, that he really didn't get attacked, and he made up this whole thing for attention, because he is dissatisfied with his salary on his show and he wanted attention. So that's what's going around at the moment, but some people are still insisting that he did not make up this whole story. It turns out that it just sounds like some clown stuff. I don't know, it's just weird. So he said he was attacked by two men, and then it turns out that the two men that attacked him, it was something that was staged and rehearsed, and those two men are like men that he knows, they're friends of his. So he's trying to make some kind of statement or some sort of point with this being attacked thing. So yeah, people have asked me, can you look at his chart? Can you look at his chart? Can you look at his chart? So we're going to look at his chart. We're going to see, is there anything that shows, first of all, we're going to look at the transits. Are there any deceptive transits that were going on during that time or even now? Because the story still continues, right? And we'll look at his natal chart and see, like, what's the deal with this guy doing stuff like this? Like, is there anything in his chart that kind of points to that? So I'm going to show you Jussie's chart. We're going to screen share here. And we're going to take a look and see what makes him have the capacity, the audacity to do such a thing. Okay, where's it at? Here it is. Okay, so we're going to take a look at his chart. We're going to discuss some of this stuff here. Okay, start screen share. There we go. All right, guys. So this is Jussie Smollett's chart. We do not have his birth time, so ignore the houses and all of that. And as a matter of fact, Astro Theme, whenever they put up a celebrity's birth chart, that's usually my go-to source. Them on stuff, though. I don't just roll with everything and run with everything they have up there without checking. They have a Cancer Sun and a Cancer Moon, but that they default their charts to be at 12 o'clock noon if they don't have a birth time. Go back. I like to do sunrise because it's early in the morning and we can see the possibility of, well, what if this person was born change the planets, because some of them can change signs within a day. So now he could be anywhere from a 29-degree Gemini sun to a 0-degree Cancer sun. And as far as his moon, on that day the moon did change signs, so he can either be like from a 28-degree Gemini moon to a 10-degree Cancer moon, depending upon the time of day he was born. So I don't really know this guy's personality enough to kind of get a feel for his energy to see which one do I think fits him. Is he Cancer or Gemini? But regardless, like, he could be at the, that one of the 29 degrees, like the anaretic degrees of with his sun or moon in Gemini. I am feeling, I don't, I'm on the fence, you guys. I'm going to be honest, because Cancerian energy on a negative side can be very manipulative, emotionally manipulative, especially, and especially use things like oh, we have to stick together as family and as people. Like cancers can use that a lot. That's stuff that means a lot to cancers more than it means a lot to Geminis. So I feel like he does have at least one of these, if not both, in Cancer. So what happened the night of the attack? What were the transits like? So I put them for January 29th, 2019. And when I heard of this being falsified and fabricated and the details are foggy and all this stuff, I thought Neptune. What in the Neptune is going on here? Okay, like there has to be some Neptune involved that's causing confusion and stuff like that. So, what is going on? Is there any Neptune heavy transits hitting him or anything hitting his own Neptune? Aha! So Venus was inching towards his natal Neptune that night of the supposed attack. So, what can this mean? Um, this can mean maybe creating and orchestrating something that is like, Neptune does rule. It's one of the planets and energies that rule acting, morphing yourself into someone else, into a character. So yeah, this can play a part if there's something hitting your Neptune, and we don't know the houses of his chart. So Venus could rule something significant for him, and then it hits Neptune, and it's kind of like, I don't know. I just figured for someone to be that delusional to where they think that they can get away with something, there has to be some sort of Neptune stuff going on. So it could be, Venus conjunct his Neptune could have had him really just dreaming up a scheme and a plan and creating it. Something else that I noticed too is that he has a Mars square Pluto transit. So his Pluto, let's see, where is his Pluto? His Pluto is in Libra. Mars, no, it's been a Mars Pluto opposition. Yeah. So Mars was in Aries and his Pluto is in Libra. So there's a Mars and Pluto opposition. Sometimes Mars and Pluto together in aspect can equal violence. So that's why it's kind of hard. Like this situation is so Mercury conjunct Neptune in Pisces, trying to decipher it. I'm telling you guys. But there was a Mars and Pluto opposition, which could have signified some sort of attack or violence or something like that. That's a common transit for those incidents. So it's like, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. Let's see what else is going on. Venus, where's she at? Oh yeah, Venus. She's been making a trine to Uranus, a conjunction to his Neptune. That's like suddenly all of a sudden dreaming something up to me. Another thing is that Saturn is sitting on his south node. Now, also, there was an eclipse in January at 15 degrees of Capricorn on his south node. So he's got some karma stuff going on here. Now, Saturn on the south node is working through and having some crazy lessons come to you about your past life karma. An eclipse can definitely open a portal that brings your past life back into this current lifetime for some reason. So we don't know what house his south node is in his natal chart, but maybe it's in a house that rules something for him that's very important and very karmic. Maybe there's some things he did in his past lifetimes. Maybe he did some shady stuff, and now he's come back again and he's trying to do that stuff again. This is default settings of your soul, okay? So maybe he's doing some default settings stuff, and therefore you know, he's learning some big hard lessons about it from Saturn. And then the eclipse kind of opened the gate to that too. Like, yeah, I'm a plot and scheme on people, you know, something that he may have done in a past life. And he's like repeating that. So Saturn is like, oh, really now? What are you? Well, let me teach you something about that. So that's what's going on. Saturn is on his south node. And then there too. So that could be where the karmic lessons are coming from with this whole situation and lying and everything. But let's see, Neptune and Pisces, does it make any aspects to any of his mutable stuff that, you know, is current, that could be maybe making him like do some kind of weird thing to where he's like weaving a veil, web of this what's the word I'm looking for? Deceit. Yeah, weaving a web of deceit. I think of Neptune. I think of mutable energy when I hear stuff like that. Not really. I mean, he does have in his chart a Sun and Neptune opposition, even if he's a 0-degree Cancer. He still has a Sun and Neptune opposition in his chart. So maybe there's some kind of Neptunian thing that's being activated in the sky that activated his Sun and Neptune opposition, which is, you know, it's idealism. It's great for acting and stuff like that. It's escapism. But once again, it can rule being deceptive and trying to pull the wool over people's eyes and thinking that you're invisible and you're invincible, you know, and that nobody sees you, nobody hears you. You're just walking around like a ghost or something. Like Neptune can do that to you. And then it's like a reality check, homie. We do see you. And it's like, "Rrr." So, I mean, this is like a really big factor, I think, without having his birth time in his chart of why he is trying to give a sob story and gain sympathy and is not being very smart about fabricating something, staging a situation. And that's why he got found out, because he was fumbling and bumbling with this whole thing and didn't, you know, make it his little operation run smoothly enough, obviously. So that's what I see, you guys. That's what I see in his chart. It'll be interesting to see what's going to go on from here. But this is definitely a karma thing. It's a karma thing with the eclipse here and then Saturn here. Yeah, there's definitely something karmic about it for him that he has to learn some kind of lesson. So that is it for this coffee talk. You guys, thank you so much for coming through. If you did, let me know what you guys think in the chat or in the comments once this processes. So yeah, thank you guys. I hope you have a great week. It sounds like a very exciting week with that Uranian energy and Venus energy and Venus shifting signs, and the next week after that is going to be even more exciting and crazy and poppin', and I will be here to talk about it. So make sure you guys stay tuned to next week. Happy Venus in Aquarius. Get weird and enjoy it. And yeah, don't forget to hit me up. My info is below in the info box. So oh, and make sure you guys check out the calendar, the transits calendar that Lada created and worked super duper hard on. To check your own personal transits for the ones that I talk about or anybody else talks about on here. Make sure you guys check it out, because she has like some free stuff, there are things that are very affordable for you guys to track your own horoscope stuff, and she goes into detail about it. So don't forget to check that out on Astrolada too. Okay. All right, guys. Peace out. Have a great weekend and a great week, and I will see you later. I'll see you in March. All right.